Yeah.
Okay.
It's picking up.
Okay.
We're reading you loud and clear. Welcome back, everyone, to Nopes and Opes. I'm joined by Lancelot, as always, my good friend Highland, and we're here today to talk about fashion. As you can tell, we're both dressed gloriously. I'm wearing a very fashionable button-up that is pink and a little bit of purple. I got to explain for the audio listeners. We got to not forget about our audio Spotify listeners, which
absolutely
we have probably for the last 3 videos. So sorry about that. We hear you, and we will make sure we describe. Highland, why don't you tell the people what you're wearing?
The same thing that I wear almost every day of my life, but it's a t-shirt of some sort. Like I kind of rotate probably 3 or 4 t-shirts, and you can tell because each one of them is like super threadbare, and they're almost falling off my body. And then I do have my trusty Chanhassen hoodie that I also wear daily. But yeah, I decided, since we are going to talk about fashion and the importance of really, really looking good every day, which is total sarcasm, but no, I mean, yeah, I think this is a really interesting conversation though, because I actually have a ton of thoughts on fashion and why people wear the things that they do. So I'll be interested to see how this goes for sure.
And also a little bit of acceptance. We recently published a short talking about being a bald king that actually Highland came up with on his own to be a bald king, which is now a thing. It's real. We got bald kings out there. Thanks to Highland. I myself identify as a bald king, and I hope we'll see more.
I came up with that?
Well, technically, yes. I had told Highland about what a king is and how people are saying king and queen nowadays, like a short king. And he was very taken back by it. And then we recorded the podcast. I was talking about how it's okay to be bald and it's beautiful and to accept it. And then he proposed to be a bald king. And I found it to be, I've never identified with something more.
Well,
the fact that I want to start making shirts of just be a bald king.
Yeah. Big, bad, bold, badass king. Bald king.
All the B's.
Right here. Yeah.
So we were talking about that, and we thought, one, I do, like, all jokes aside, I do feel very serious about, accepting your body, right? Body positivity in a certain way. But, like, for a lot of guys out there are losing hair and their hairline's receding. And, I just see it with men around my age. And the reason why I know is because I get a lot of guys that talk to me about being bald, right? Like, they'll come up and be like, so, when did you decide to let it go? And it was 2 years ago. It was when I was 24. My hair started to thin in the front. And I just hate when I see people holding on to something when they can just let it go. And a lot of people, do creative things with hairs, and they'll lay it over the front so you can't really tell that it's receding, or you'll wear hats a lot. And we all know, okay? I know, the ladies know, but you just got to accept it. It's much better when you eventually just can agree to shave it. It's going to suck at first, of course, but over time, you begin to accept it, and you flourish into a bald king.
Ideally, yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah.
But I do think, I'll say a couple things. I do think there are some men out there, and maybe ladies too. Ladies, there's some pattern baldness as well. But
yeah.
But generally, we're men, and so we're speaking from that perspective, I guess. But I will say a couple things. One, I think there's some very, very handsome men out there that do have receding hairlines or whatever, like not as much hair as they used to, whatever, that are very, very handsome, right?
Jude Law.
They do.
Jude Law's hairline is running back, but that man is attractive as ever.
Yeah. So, I think at some point, I'll be bald as well, and, whatever, it is what it is. I hope that I have the cojones that you have shown in your life. But I also think, it is rather shocking. I don't think everybody knows. I don't think the men know, the ladies know, because there have been times, specifically with people that I've worked with, that they've always had a hat on, and then perhaps we're out or we're, whatever, and they just lift up their hat a little bit, and you're like, oh, they have a ton of hair here, and you just expect it to be consistent the whole way through. Yeah. And I'm just thinking of one dude, and he had, he looked, I was like, that's that guy's got a nice head of hair.
Yep.
And he lifted up his hat, and I mean, it was just a bold dome right there. And I was just like, whoa. And it was shocking. It like took my breath away. Like, whoa, that was not what I expected.
And I've seen plenty of videos of when guys are starting to notice that they're going bald, and it's rough. It is not easy to kind of come to terms with, because there's nothing you can really do about it. You know, you can go to, I think you can go to like Turkey or something and get the no, that's like a real thing. You go to Turkey, like a bunch of men go to Turkey and they all get the implants on the front of their head to increase their hairline and whatnot. And honestly, here's the thing: one, it's expensive as hell. Two, it doesn't always work. Some people go and do it multiple times. I'm broke. You know what's cheap? Not having to pay for a haircut and just shaving my head myself. So I'd rather just do that and accept it. And listen, if you don't like my head, fuck you.
Doesn't it hurt also
when I shave?
No. Like if you get hair
I'm sure. I mean, there
might
be some kind of numbing process or whatever, but I'm sure it's not the most, lovely of it. It's not a spa treatment. It's an actual like surgery. And then, most people's heads get like really swollen and whatnot, and they can't wear hats, and, your hair, it looks real messed up.
Well,
so
that takes me into, and I mean, this is kind of funny because I think we do have some things to say, but at the same time, you're probably talking to like the least fashionable person out there. Like I almost spend more time trying to be not fashionable than I do trying to be fashionable. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how
this is contradictory to what you said in our one clip where you said that this takes a lot of work.
Yeah, this, like, it takes a lot of work to look like a slacker and to keep the expectations really, really low.
Yeah.
But then like be able to have the skills and the confidence and the abilities to rise above when people doubt you. So yeah, that does take a lot of luck. Yeah. And honestly, I'm one big, huge contradiction.
Yeah.
So
you're a lazy king.
Yeah, I fully embrace that. 100%.
Yeah. Well, one thing we want to talk about in terms
you missed it.
What?
100%.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I hate when people say 100%. Stop saying it, everyone. It's not cool. Just say I agree. You don't have to 100% agree. Just be like, I agree.
Okay.
I'm picking the wrong battles. One thing we want to talk about with fashion, this really does feel like a news report. Like I'm looking right at the camera. Like, we got to talk about the world. We got to talk about what's going on. It actually helps. I think facing the camera, it helps me with my speech. But in terms of fashion, Highland and I have actually talked about this a lot off camera, but why people wear the things that they wear. We do talk a lot about why people do the things that they do. But I think what's very interesting is also showing what people wear and how they kind of accessorize with tattoos or piercings or whatever it may be. So it'd be kind of fun to just kind of dive into some of the things that we've seen, some of the things that we choose to do with our life. Ted, Highland, you have a tattoo yourself. I don't have any. I'm covered in hair from neck down, so not really a lot of real estate for tattoos. But I enjoy the hair. I'm kind of like a sexy. Who's the guy who used to be James Bond? What's the guy?
Sean Connery?
No, I don't want to be Sean Connery. Never mind. I don't know. I like being hairy. Not really much I can do about it. It would be a lot of work to shave.
Yeah, but I think you're giving the wrong impression. Like, remember what was...
Okay, I used to say that I am hairy like Chewbacca neck down, and that's painting me in a bad light. But I'll be honest. If you saw me without my shirt on, you are going to notice that there is a lot of chest hair. Okay? It is present. So I feel like I have to, let people know ahead of time. Because you just kind of like jump out. Like, for instance, I'll give a little story. When we were on the lacrosse team, right? We're all guys. We would all get in the showers together. We would all be naked. We were all comfortable in our own bodies, right? Part of body positivity. One time, one of the guys in the team, you always have like someone that's a little bit crazy that kind of acts out. He was walking around and was playing Slap Ass, which is from a Key and Peele sketch where Jordan Peele is walking around just slapping people on the ass, yelling, slap ass, in a character voice. So he was doing that, and he got to me, and he stopped, and he went, and then went to the next guy, and was like, "Dude, no, that is a true story." So that's why I tell people I'm hairy, and it's part of who I am, right? I'm bald. I got nothing up top, but I'm a hairy man, and I'm proud of it, right? I like being hairy. It's okay. See, you got to be okay with being a bald king and a hairy king. So
That didn't
it really is a true story. That did happen. I'm not making that up, whatever. Also, after that, my nickname on the lacrosse team was Mr. Tubness, who is the centaur or whatever from Chronicles of Narnia, where he has goat legs from his waist down. So that's what my nickname was after that instance. So
No way.
yeah, it was commented. Like when I would, get
That's
naked,
dramatic, man.
get naked for the showers, they'd be like, "Dude, you're hairy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a hairy dude.
Oh
I
my
have the
God.
body hair of a lumberjack with the body of a small child.
Okay, I can't talk.
No,
Oh
not a
my
small
God,
child, but
man.
a man."
Oh.
So, but what we're talking about today is being comfortable in your own body, right? And being confident, which I do feel confident.
I don't know if I can contribute anything. Oh my God.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
All
But
right.
Highland, you
Get it-
said you
get
had
it
some
together,
thoughts.
Highland.
You had some thoughts on why people dress the way that they do. And I'd
All
love
my
to hear
thoughts
it.
just went out the window, man. Oh my God.
Collect yourself, man.
Sure.
We're professionals.
Oh, you gotta stop, man. Okay. Oh, whew. Deep breathing. Oh my God, man. That's quite the introduction, my man. That does not allow me to go anywhere where I thought that I was gonna
You're
go.
like, you should stop painting yourself as. I'm like, no, I'm gonna lead into it.
Oh, man,
I
yeah.
really. But here's the thing, like I've always been hairy, so you kind of have to like part of. All jokes aside, part of having body positivity and whatnot is being able to laugh at yourself and have jokes and not be offended. Like I could have chose to be hurt by all that stuff, but genuinely, I always found it to be endearing and funny, and I enjoy it. Like I love when people see my chest hair and they're like, "Whoa, what the hell?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm full of surprises."
Yeah, that's what you get. No, I do. One, I enjoyed the heck out of that story. That was really, really funny. Thank you for that. I appreciate laughter. But also I think it shows, like in a serious kind of tone, it shows how fun it is to actually be comfortable in your own skin and to be able to make those jokes and to actually be comfortable with it. Like I think a lot of people make fun of themselves, and deep down inside there's the resentment and there's
they're upset.
You're kind of like, I think a lot of comedians, right, have that issue where they can, on the outside they can be making fun, but deep down inside they're not so great with themselves. So I think that's huge. Like to actually get to the point where, hey, we are comfortable and it is okay, and it's just who I am, right? And again, I think that the magic of this podcast is if there's one thing that, like one word to kind of encapsulate the whole thing, it's just acceptance. Acceptance of your ideas, acceptance of your actions, acceptance of your consequences, acceptance of your body, acceptance of
it's funny. I have another funny story about acceptance of your body.
Okay.
This happened recently. This happened literally last week.
Hold on. Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, that's right.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. So last week, I woke up early in the morning and was like, I gotta feed Lance, and I cleaned his litter box in the morning.
This is not where I thought it was going.
And I don't know where you thought it was going, but I cleaned his litter box and I grab his, litter and all that stuff, and I'm like, I want to go throw it outside. I'm just in my boxers, okay, my tidy whities. I'm walking through the house,
Boxers or tidy whities?
They're actually boxers, briefs, so they're like the tight ones.
So it shows a little bit.
I mean, a little bit, yeah. I mean, it shows a lot. Shows a huge amount. You know what I'm saying? Big impact over here. Now, so
what is happening right now?
You set me up for failure. There a little bit. Come on. No, so I walk outside in my boxers just to quickly throw away the trash. And I'm comfortable walking around in my own skin. And I just hear as I walk outside, Rowan, Rowan. And I'm like, who's talking? What's happening? I thought I was going to say, and I'm kind of awake right now. I'm kind of in that like, just woke up kind of stage.
Oh.
And our neighbor was doing some landscaping outside and has hired some people. And she walked over and I'm just standing there in my box. I'm not covering myself up. I'm like, morning, Georgie. She walks up and we start talking and she was like,
she's older?
Yeah, she's older. Yeah.
Okay.
She's, I think, in her like 60s.
Oh.
And
that could be exciting.
Okay. I mean, all right. So she, walked up and was like, she was asking me if they could use this machine in the yard and whatnot. I'm like, I'll ask my dad. I'm not going to give the go ahead on it. But that whole entire time, I just was standing there in my boxers.
Oh.
No shoes, no shirt, no socks, no pants, just boxers, all out. And I just was like, hey, I mean, here we are. Right? You came up to me. I didn't come to you. Yeah. So this was unwarranted. And she did apologize. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you were basically naked. But
Oh my.
So, and it's freeing. I mean, also I've grown up in a family that's very body positive in the sense that like, I don't want to get into too much detail, but my dad is very comfortable being naked.
This is not around. Where I thought we were going.
I don't care. Who cares? We're having a good time.
Sometimes you got to have a lighter.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to lean in.
Yeah.
And I know to lean in. But yeah, my family is not my mom, but my dad mostly. I've seen my dad naked more times than I can possibly count. Because he sleeps naked and he just walks around. It is his house, he earned it. But this is not normal. Like when I tell people that, they're like, I have never seen my dad naked in my life. But if you grow up with it being a normal thing, you don't really realize how weird it is until you tell someone and you see the look of horror on their face, imagining my father naked walking around the house. So
it's an intimidating image.
Yeah.
If you think too long about it.
Yeah. When my dad listens to this, he's gonna be pissed. Actually, no. He probably will be like, "Yeah, you're goddamn right."
Yeah, he'll be. I think he'll be proud.
Proud.
Yeah, Kurt will be like, yeah. If you have something to say, come say it to my face.
Yeah. Well, now's your time to chip in. What are your thoughts on
how do I step up to that?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to, all jokes. We can throw the jokes out. We don't have to go down the jokey route. But on a serious note, let's get serious. Let's lock in.
I got nothing serious after that. I mean, that's comedic gold right there. I mean, when you talk about comedy, that would have people rolling, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
But no, I think like I just like the fact that you're able to kind of like lean into that and just tell those stories. And I think knowing you well enough, I think that's so cool because so much of society today is based on just Instagram and image and just nonsense, right? Like, people like faking that they're on vacation and like setting up backgrounds like, hey, look at me on the beach and it's a freaking plastic picture.
Or another thing, I don't know if you're aware of this. They'll just take enough photos while they're on vacation that they can just continually post throughout the year. So it looks like, oh my God.
They just take 100 photos in one day.
But like they might have gone to Florida like for a week.
Yeah.
But there was just thousands of pictures.
No, I mean, like so much of the world is fake, right? And I mean, honestly, that's one kind of serious topic that I do kind of upsets me. And I want to be a little bit careful because I think, oh man, this guy's getting used to for those just listening, Lance is making himself quite apparent on the video format. And yeah, he's kind of getting used to being in the spotlight there.
It's funny, like we don't set it up for him to sit here.
There's no way to set anything up for Lance at all.
First of all, if you've never owned a cat, cats do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
you have no control. He doesn't respect me. He is the alpha. I am the beta.
Yeah, right? He doesn't respond to you.
In the last episode we recorded, he literally attacked me halfway through because I started to pet his stomach, and he was like, "No, I don't want this." And you're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So he just will randomly, anytime we start to talk, will just come sit in between us.
Yeah.
And just make himself seen on camera. Because if we want to talk about fashion, this guy's beautiful and he is a fashionista. That's for sure.
And bold.
And he's not bald.
Bold.
Bold.
Yeah.
For sure.
But One thing that does bother me
Mhm.
about fashion and just image and things like that is the amount of the rise of plastic surgery.
Mm.
I think that's actually a pretty dangerous trend.
Yeah.
And I feel a little bit sad because I think once you look in the mirror and you make that decision, like, oh, I'm going to correct my nose or my ears or lips,
Yeah.
Botox, whatever it is, I think one, you're never going to achieve perfection, right? There's no sense of like, oh, this is the perfect human being look or
Yeah.
whatever. And then also, once you decide like, oh, this is imperfect and I want to change this, then I think you're always going to see imperfections in
Yeah.
yourself and you're never going to be actually content. And I think like one of the things for me, and I guess it kind of goes into like why I wear the things I do and why I kind of present myself the way that I do
Yeah.
is because I want oh man, there's a lot to this actually. It goes a lot deeper than I was originally thinking and how we set it up here. But um yeah, I've always kind of dressed and tried to make a first impression that's way lower.
Yeah.
And so then like when people do get to know me, they're like, whoa, I did not like I
Use.
just thought this dude was a total slacker,
Yeah.
like didn't have anything to contribute, didn't have any thoughts, didn't have any real
Yeah.
value, and then like just
I mean, you're
surprise
good
the
at
heck
it.
out of them.
I think you've perfected it over the years. I mean, I thought the same thing. Like, I just thought, I mean, at first glance, I was like, oh my God, it's Jeff Daniels. Nope, that's not him.
It's not only Jeff Daniels, it's Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I like, I was like, oh, he's just kind of like this brooding, tall dude that just wants to work and be left alone. But then, I got to know you and you're like, oh, I'm actually an author. And that I was like, what? This guy writes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely good at
No,
doing that.
but it's I think that's a crazy thing about fashion is it is really calculated.
Yeah.
And when I think people are going to be like, Highland, like you're not like you don't do fashion. And
Right.
I agree with that, right? But I do actually choose my clothing.
I mean,
I do
maybe not necessarily fashion as the word, but appearance. Like
appearance.
you're thinking about your appearance.
Yeah, my appearance is very, very calculated.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the thing that people don't realize is because I spend a lot of time trying to make it seem as though my appearance is very kind of slovenly and very kind of kind of disheveled,
Mm-hmm.
just put together however it is. But there's actually, as in everything I do, there's a lot of thought in what I do. And like one of the reasons, like we've talked about this, but like why I wear the hoodie all the time is I love just being able to look in my closet and being like, there it is,
Yeah.
the one option. Like
Yeah.
it's just very comforting to.
Well, it also, I think it takes away the choice of being like, because sometimes when I try to choose an outfit or whatever, like if I'm going to go out, I'm like, what outfit will look good on me? Or like what will be something that might attract someone to come talk to me or whatever it may be, right? Like I have that thought when I'm choosing the outfit. Maybe other people do, maybe they don't. But with you can just be like, that is my only option. So whatever happens, happens.
Well, I mean, but the clothes actually the clothes like I do have clothes that actually do look fairly nice, but all of those clothes are put together by my sisters. Like
Oh.
I have not bought any of the nicer clothes. So yeah, like all of the clothes that I have that actually like I wear
I've been
in any
curated.
professional,
by
have
your
been professionally
sisters.
curated by my sisters, which is great because I don't have to spend any time or energy thinking about it.
Yeah.
And they have better fashion sense than I do, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the importance for me in like, I guess like what the message that I would like most to get out is to younger people
Yep.
and to not, I think it's difficult because I want you to strive to look your best and to feel your best. But at the same time, I don't want you to put so much value in the way you look that you lose the kind of content of what's inside, like
Yeah.
the development of your mind and your body and your soul and things like that. I think there's so much value put on, like just as an example, like on Friday or Thursday, I was walking out of my office and it's someone else's office that I'm using right now. And in the mirror, she wrote, like you look in the mirror and it says, "You are beautiful." And I just asked the two ladies that I was walking out with, I was like, what do you think of that mirror? And they're like, yeah, that's great. Like, what a nice message, this and that. And I just thought to myself, and it's like, doesn't that just like kind of just push the idea that beauty is the only thing that's important? Like, why not write, you are intelligent, or you are amazing, or you are capable, right? Like, why is it that we put so much emphasis on just being beautiful? And look at how many problems it causes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many girls suffer girls, guys, whoever it is, right? So many body issues, so many self-esteem
Body
issues,
dysmorphia.
so many maladaptive behaviors, right? Just because of this ideal that's one, unattainable in a lot of ways, and then two, that's just so omnipresent, right? It's just everywhere. You can't escape. Like, oh, if you look this way, then you'll be like valued and accepted and have lots of friends and money and travel and this and that. And it's just
that's an interesting kind of conundrum, the whole mirror thing. Because on one hand, like I agree and I understand where you're coming from. And then on the other hand, there's kind of this like we've talked about before, you actively have to try to be happy. I think you actively have to try to love yourself. And so I think like I do talk to myself. Like, I don't think I'm crazy, but like I have to, like, I gotta say something to myself. I think I'll have conversations with myself in terms of like, you know, how I think about my body or how I think about how I look, and being positive. Like, that might be part of it for her, that individual.
Well,
it might be like a practice of loving herself by saying to herself, you are beautiful.
Oh no, I think it's mainly for the students, right? To look at like an affirming message for the students. But at the same time, like actually thinking it through, you're in a mirror looking at your image, right? It is very much about what you're seeing on the outside.
Well, it's also like, I mean, I guess you could always change the wording around it, because beautiful is, you know, it is usually catered towards appearance, right? My biggest thing, and like we've talked about, Highland, you don't necessarily like to look in the mirror. I have to look in the mirror because I check in with myself in a way. Like, if I don't look in the mirror at least once a day, not in like a vanity thing, I'm like, oh, how do I look today? No, it's just like, it's a thing of like, it kind of like centers me in a way. Like, I can connect with myself because it's, you know, it's like almost if it was a different person, but they're there in front of you, and I can kind of be like, no, like this is me, and I can kind of just re-center and be like, nah, like you got it. Because I try to be like a cheerleader for myself. Like, I'll look in the mirror. Oh man, this is behind closed doors. But like, before a test, I'll like look in the mirror like, you got this. Come on, you got this. Like, I'll hype myself up because I think like love and all that stuff, like, it's active, it's action.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a huge part of my whole thing this year was gaining confidence, just becoming more of who I want to be, just getting calm and relaxed into like being myself. And I think through action of actually like saying those things to myself, like in the mirror, is a way of loving myself and like trying to keep that image and that positivity there.
I think that's beautiful.
It doesn't have to be the words like, you are beautiful.
Yeah.
Mine's usually like, you got this. Like, keep going.
No, I mean, I have those same conversations, right? It's not necessarily that I do it in the mirror, but I certainly have to hype myself up and get myself ready for situations and you know, just kind of confirm that that you're okay and you got this and you're doing well.
With the mirror, for some reason, it feels like more real because I can't hide behind it. Because I'm like looking at myself and I'm saying it to myself.
Well,
because I can always sit and not be looking at something and then just be like, hey man, you should probably like work out and like go do something. And then I won't, like, if I'm not looking at myself, then I can kind of be like, yeah. And then not do it.
No,
if I look in the mirror, I'm like,
we've discussed this before, and I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast or not, but I do think that not looking in the mirror and not taking pictures and not kind of being in videos, whatever, which, good luck with that now, but is a way for me to hide, right? Is a way for me not to actually see. Like,
so it's another way of putting on the blindfold.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that sense, maybe is not so good, but I think it also allows me to just kind of be okay with like not like if I do look in the mirror, I'm hypercritical and
Yeah.
I kind of take everything
You
apart.
can you have you ever been able to like I mean, I think also just to preface, everyone's way they do things is individualized. Like I don't think everyone should look in the mirror and talk to themselves and hype themselves up. That's just what works for me. You got
Yeah.
to figure out what works for you. And as you've said, like if you look in the mirror, you're hypercritical.
Yeah.
And it's like if you can't change that mindset or that language of how you that self-talk,
Well,
then
I think that's important to make that distinction because I don't think there's anything that you can't change. Like I'm just unwilling to.
Ah.
Right? Like
Okay.
I could. Like
Yeah.
if I wanted to put in the time and like and work on it and like
Every
that
day,
would
look in
be a
the
goal
mirror and
where I'm
like
like, okay, I'm gonna change this my
Yeah.
self-talk, then I absolutely could.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because the whole point of this podcast for me is just to be self-empowered.
No.
There's nothing that can't be
quietly
done.
bold.
Quietly bold. Absolutely. But yeah, I could
Bold
change
and bald.
bold and beautiful and
Bald.
bald.
King.
King. But no, I think there's absolutely
Yeah.
nothing that I can't change.
Yeah.
I'm just unwilling to put in the time and effort at this point.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's got like at this point, I'm more than halfway through my life.
Let
and
me ask you something. So
Okay.
say you sat down with a student that they had that same mindset. How would you react to that?
Same mindset. What?
Like, let's say, well, not the same mindset. Let's say you have a student and they're very critical of how they look to the point where they're depressed and they are like kind of like violent towards like, I hate myself. I hate the way I look. I'm ugly. All of those things, right? What would be your kind of way of talking to them about that?
Oh God, you just tapped into like one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate going to interviews and they're like, okay, we're gonna act out a scenario, and I just inside I just revolt.
All right.
And my go-to answer is always
Fuck you.
no. My go-to answer is always like, well, it really depends on the student and it depends on the situation
Yeah.
and you know what kind of variables are within that certain situation on that certain day and And
I'm
I
more
try to be
interested
nice about it, but
I'm more interested in so I hear what you're saying
Yeah.
about how you feel about looking in the mirror like I choose not to because I'm unwilling to do the work. And I'm curious if you had a student that said
Yeah.
the exact same thing, would you be like, "Hell yeah. Let's not do it." Or would you be like, "No, you should," kind
no,
of
I would just open up to them and explore the reasons why I don't like to and like the path that I've taken because I've always been aware of the way that I look. And also it's not only looks. I think this is clearly evident by now, but I don't like being the center of attention.
Yeah.
And so, and being the person that I am, I do get a lot of attention.
Oh yeah, you get the spotlight anytime we're out.
Yeah, and it's really difficult for me. And so then I would just always kind of give them an example of, hey, this is what I go through. This is what I think. This is what I kind of what affects me and why I do the things I do. And then just kind of open up that conversation and let them kind of come at it the way they're going to. But yeah, I just think it's important always to give people a sense because I think especially when we're younger, we think like we're the only ones that experience this thing. Like our experience is so unique. No one else in the world has ever experienced all the crap that we're going through.
Right.
And if as an adult you can somehow create some sort of connection where it's like, yeah, I don't get exactly what's going through your mind, but you know, there's some similarities.
Similar
Yeah.
situation.
So
I think that's interesting because we're just so kind of like polar opposites. Like I never get the spotlight, right? It just in terms of like when I go out, it's just kind of like, Highland, you're 6'6". I'm only 6'2", and they don't see me as much, but I'm still there. But no, yeah, it's been very interesting. Also, I want to talk about something that happened recently that's funny, but it's also a weird thing that people do to bald people for some reason. That when you're bald, they can't drop the fact that you're bald. So I've been running into people from high school and whatnot, and I recently ran into someone, and they walked up to me at a bar, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're bald!"
Like
the first thing they said was, "Oh my God, you're bald," and I was like, "Yeah, hi." nice to meet you. I am bald. She's like, oh my God, that's crazy. How long have you been bald for? 2 years. And he's like, oh, so this bald thing's not new. And I went, no, the bald thing is not new. She's like, God, I was such an asshole in high school. I was like, I think you're kind of being an asshole now. We won't drop the bald thing. And she laughed. And then, the night went on. But yeah, for some reason, people are very strange about when you're bald. They're like, oh my God, that's so crazy. One time I was at a party playing beer pong versus this woman. I was wearing a beanie at the time, strategically. And then halfway through the game, I took the beanie off and she went, oh, you're bald. And I'm just like, yeah, I know this. This is not new information for me.
Yeah, I think just as a public service announcement, like bald people probably don't need to be told that they're bald.
It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise that I'm bald. I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that these things happen and I just think they're funny in the moment. Like they don't actually offend me. I'm a very lighthearted guy. Like I can joke around, as you can tell by the beginning of this episode, but it's just been interesting because I've never had those interactions before.
I think it's actually a cool thing to bring up because I think there's a lot of people that are struggling. Like if you do shave your head and you are going through the process, not everybody is as well adjusted maybe as you are at this point.
Well, I mean, when it first happened, I was miserable.
Yeah.
I was super depressed. I couldn't really handle it because, it was a hard pill to swallow. Like my hair was thinning. There's nothing I could do to stop it. I thought I was eating a good enough diet. Like there's hair products. There's all these things that are like hymns that are like, oh, they'll improve your testosterone and hair and all that stuff. And I'm like, anytime you have to take specific pills to get something done, like genetically, I'm like, you know what? Like my grandpa's bald. I'm probably going to be bald.
I'm with you, buddy.
Why not just accept it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was hard at first, but now I've gotten to the point where I've been bald for so long that I'm used to it and like I enjoy it. And like people like the bald that I have. And it comes with, being a bald king comes with some burdens, right? The other day I was out at a club walking along and someone palmed my head like a basketball and I had no idea who they were or where it came from. And I turned around and I was in a crowd and I missed them, right? It was pretty disrespectful. I'm going to be honest, right? To just palm my head like a basketball. By the way, their hand was massive. So I felt all of it. Their intrusive thoughts got the best of them and they took advantage of it, right?
No.
That actually happened. These are all true stories. I'm not making any of this up. So,
oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I got nothing more, man.
Well, on that bombshell, love who you are, accept who you are, be a bald king, and, thank you for watching and listening. For you viewers or for you listeners on Spotify, you should check out the videos. You can see my beautiful bald head.
Yeah.
And you can check out Highland's outfit. And if you want to reach out to us and share your story or anything that you've ever gone through, you can reach us at nopeopod@gmail.com. If you want to find us on social media or on any podcast, we're everywhere at Nopes and Opes. The book is still available in the podcast description for purchase, as well as Highland's art projects that he is continuing to be working on. Any updates on your art projects or anything like that?
No, there are some different versions, but I haven't updated them on that website themselves. But there's some cool things. But can I say nothing in that regard, but can I say one last thing?
Sure.
If you enjoy like the lighter side, like these types of episodes, could you please let us know? Because I enjoyed the heck out of this. I hope people enjoyed it as much as I did. But I realize that a lot of times we talk about, like, we go pretty heavy. And
we talk about philosophical, super deep things.
Yeah. But if you just need like more, like if you want to like one out of every 4 episodes to just like intersperse something like this, and we just need Rowan to be funny and make us laugh, please, by all means, because this was awesome. I had so much fun today.
Good. Well, I'm glad. If you want to let us know, you can email us at nopeopod@gmail.com. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.